friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today I want to do a wonderful video response to my good buddy Cameron of Industrial Gamer, who did a wonderful video, just uploaded it. I'll have a link below for his video, and it's all about storytelling and that's really the core of entertainment, whether it's movies or especially games. And I think that's what's missing in so many games today, and I think the timing of this is pretty good based on some new games that are out right now that I was very tempted to get, but I'm having second thoughts now. Not every game has to have storytelling. I mean, you can do simple little platforming or very fun games like probably Rayman Legends, things like that, are just fun platformers. You don't really need a whole lot of premise to have a good time, or the Mario games and all that. But for myself personally, I'm into games for like a vast, immersive experience, real good storytelling. And Cameron kind of shares that viewpoint with me. He plays everything, multiplayer, single player, the whole deal. I just play single player games, but we both share a real passion and love for quality storytelling, which is sadly missing in a lot of games today. I'm playing this right now, Star Wars Battlefront. Beautiful graphics, wonderful production values. If you have any affinity for Star Wars, you couldn't ask for a better visual presentation. And I'm thrilled now that a lot of the multiplayer maps and skirmish modes are now offline. You can play offline. That's the only reason why I bought it. But I boycotted this game. I'm the largest Star Wars fan that was there, the first week in 1977 to see Star Wars, probably 30-something times at the theater. I saw it every single week for the first year. I mean, literally. An incredible amount of time into it. I love the franchise, but I refused because of this Moore guy. Oh, no one plays a single-player story or campaign anymore. It's all about multiplayer. It always has been. Well, bullshit. I don't believe that. I'm a big fan of story. If they had put a single-player campaign in this, man, I would have trampled over women and children to get the first copy available. I mean, it's a shame that this is the world we live in. Titanfall is another one. Oh, no one cares about story. Well, you know what? I don't need to buy your damn game. Go ahead and you keep your multiplayer. I mean, I buy Battlefield and Call of Duty games just for the campaign. I've got some right here. In fact, like Black Ops, this is the first midnight release that I stayed, for 3.5 hours waiting to get my copy because it looked intriguing. The TV commercials especially, all of a sudden now it's like going back to Vietnam. I was really excited, and it has a wonderful story. I love this Black Ops game. I played it, replayed it on the hardened level and beat it. I've got to play it again. I love it so much. I was really let down with the second one, the Black Ops 2. I pre-ordered it naturally. I was all excited. And the thick strategy guide, and quickly, within a couple days, called my nephew, here, come over here, I know you'll want this. And I just gave him the game and the book because I was disappointed. It had wonderful music by Trent Reznor, great visuals and production values, but it just had this strange, convoluted story, which is now pretty much the core of all of the new Call of Duty games. I have Call of Duty Ghost for the PlayStation 4, and visually it looked fantastic. I wanted to have at least try one Call of Duty game on my new system on the PlayStation 4, but what a disappointment. The story was just, and it's gone downhill ever since. I had no interest in the Advanced Warfare and all the other ones. It's just crazy, way out there stuff. Some people, that's all they care about is explosions and action. They don't give a shit about a good story, but I do, and I always have. And the games that have a good story are the ones that you better believe I'm going to be all over. Going back to the PlayStation 1, even Twisted Metal 1 and 2 have a story, a premise, and it's kind of an arcade card combat game, but still it had this great premise of Calypso and granting everyone a wish, and it really made sense. It just gave you just enough impetus to dive in and suspend your disbelief and enter into a world of immersion. And that's why this game worked well, Twisted Metal Black worked well. But unfortunately, this Twisted Metal game here, now I love the challenge mode where you can go and you can pick out all the levels and enemies and loadouts like you could, very similar with some of this, but the story mode is god-awful in this. It's just like rushed, it's very strange, really way out there, big pinball machines, all this crazy stuff. They only have a couple characters. The story mode is abysmal in this, but I would get a PlayStation 3 which I mentioned before, just to play this because it's so damn fun. So it's sad, and this is probably what killed off the franchise, because the story, it's like, who gives a shit? And they turned out a piece of crap and put it on a plate. Here you go. And the multiplayer did okay. I played a little of the multiplayer. I wasn't a huge fan of it. But again, the challenge mode where you pick all the tracks and cars and loadouts is the shit with this game. I love it. Games like Driver, the first Driver 1 and 2, which I have and love, wonderful games because it had a story. It's the epitome of all the 80s action films like The Driver with Ryan O'Neal and other, kind of bank heist, getaway driving type movies. And it works. It's a great premise, wonderful cutscenes in this, and the other Drivers as well. Where the hell is it? I have the other one. Even Driver 3, which is not very well liked. Some of the mechanics are a little awkward and strange, but still wonderful story, fantastic cutscenes, which to me made the game, carried the game. Even though some of the shooting and little Tanner gets out of his car, the way he walks, moves around is really crappy. A lot of refinements that could have been done. The driving is outstanding, but they were trying to do like a GTA thing and get out of the car and come into your vehicles and shoot weapons and stuff. It kind of works, but again, the story is what carried this game. Duke Nukem Time to Kill, simple little platformer, a lot of fun, major Duke Nukem attitude, but a great story about going back in time. They steal his motorcycle, give him some piece of shit little girl's bike, and he's pissed off. He wants his old world back, he wants his strip clubs back, he wants the action, he wants his Harley back, and that's what the whole premise is about. And you go backwards and forwards in time, and it made the game great. I couldn't wait to see how it ended up because it had a story. You got to have a story. Honest to God. Games like The Force Unleashed. I haven't finished playing this, but this has got a really good story. I mean, it's right up there. It actually was done by the LucasArts team, and you see they put a lot of thought into it. And some people didn't care for the Force Unleashed 1 and 2, but I personally like them. I haven't played the second one yet, but I'm loving this, and I take my hat off and applaud them because it has a wonderful story. And to me, that's what it's all about. This is a special Sith edition with even more story elements added to it, which is nice. So, when you think back of the games that were the most gripping games you've ever played, games where you just couldn't wait to return to the game. You're at work all day and you're I'm a painter, so it's a mindless job. I mean, you could have a room temperature IQ and do a great job. So, as someone with a high IQ, I'm sitting there at work and I'm bored out of my mind, so I tend to daydream. And what do I think about? I think about games. I think about games that I want to play when I get home. I think about games that I left a story the night before, and I can't wait to return to it to see how it comes out, to see what happens with the characters, with the overall premise. This was a great game. When I first bought this, I was disappointed and raced back to Best Buy to try to trade it in because it wasn't what I thought it was. I didn't give it much of a chance. And the guy goes, "Oh no, we can't. Once you've taken the cellophane off, we can't give you your money back or trade it for something else." I go, "Well, that sucks." So I went back. So I'll make the best of it. I'll put it in. I'll play it. Well, after the first 2 hours, I got to see what was so great about the character and the story, and then I was hooked. This is what Rockstar Games does really well: is they hook you on games because they have a great story that's well thought out. It's really well thought out. This was exciting. I played this and 100%ed it not once but twice. The minute I was done playing it, I started it from the beginning again because it was so damn good. That's a staple of a great game, and Rockstar Games knows this better than anyone. I love this game. So you better believe when I saw the first TV commercial for 30 seconds of the upcoming Vice City, I was all over it. This game succeeds because it has a great damn story. I absolutely love this. It doesn't hurt having the voices of Dennis Hopper and Ray Liotta and even Philip Michael Thomas from Miami Vice. Wonderful music, production values, all that's great. And it makes for a great game, but I'm into a good story, and Rockstar delivers in spades because they know how to draft a wonderful a reason to play the game. It's a good story. I don't have the first Myst game here, although I have it downloaded off the PlayStation 3. But I played it on the first PlayStation. The very first Myst. I have Myst Riven. I haven't played that yet, but I absolutely love this. I've played this a couple times on the Xbox as well as the PlayStation 2. Myst 3 Exile. Brad Dourif, a wonderful actor that's in this. Brad Dourif is right there. Some other character actors I don't know, but it has a fantastic story. And that's one of the things that made the Myst game great. It was a very simple point-and-click adventure game, but it had a wonderful concept and story that you were just, it was like a religious experience, the first Myst. Without the internet or any ways to cheat, I was obsessed with beating it, and I did. I figured out all the puzzles, took a little time, I had a notepad with all these notes, and it was a journey that was well worth taking, as is this one. And even Myst 4 Revelations, which I'm stuck on one level, but I'm dying to finish that as well. It's games like this that make me love to be a gamer. I love gaming. I love stories like Freedom Fighters. What a great story. Why the hell they don't do an Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version of this? They could do a reboot of this. It would be outstanding. I don't understand it, but this game succeeds. As simple and as rudimentary as the graphics are, wonderful squad-based tactics, a great premise, a simple lowly plumber against this huge Soviet infiltration of New York City. It's a fantastic game because you can see yourself as that character, and it gives you a reason, an impetus to move through the environments, and you feel immersed because you want to take your city back, and that's what makes this damn game so good. The Warriors, another great Rockstar game. This follows closely the movie. It's kind of like a prequel to the film, things leading up to the event that happened in the park at the beginning of the movie. But what an outstanding game. Great production values, solid melee fighting, and breaking into cars, and just, looting and creating mayhem. I absolutely love this game. But it's the story that makes it. The story of the movie that carries over into the game. The stories behind each of the characters, which the game actually delves into even more than the film. And it works. It's a wonderful experience because they cared enough to draft a story. I played this on the PlayStation 2 initially. I haven't played the Xbox version yet. This is a superior version of The Emperor's Tomb, this Indiana Jones game. Wonderful story in this, too, that's in keeping with the movies. And it works. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I love this one and the Xbox version. In fact, I have all the footage to do a wonderful, detailed half-an-hour review of this. I just need to sit down and do it. But what an outstanding story. It's a story that sold me on this franchise, and I absolutely love this game to this day because of it. And that's why I also love this wonderful The New Order. It has an outstanding story and characters that you actually care about. That's why this game sold well, and that's why Machine Games is doing a sequel to it. If they just said, oh, fuck the story, let's just give them a rehash of, some basic FPS action, I guarantee you this would have been a lackluster deal, wouldn't have sold well, and we'd never see another one again. Even the '09 Wolfenstein had an outstanding story that I really loved. This little Eisenstadt town, the Nazis infiltrating it, there's a resistance movement, and it's enough of a story to carry the game. I don't know why people are leaving stories out of games, and they wonder why we're getting, Gears of War, 18 and Assassin's Creed 29 and all this, because they just want to stick with what everyone knows, Gears of War had a good story. I'm not a Gears of War fan. I had 1 and 2 and played them. I think they have great graphics. It's a matter of preference. Now, some people have friends of mine that absolutely love the stories, and love the stories in the Halo games and the Gears. For me, I didn't particularly, but that's a subjective matter of taste. But that's why they sold well, because they had stories and characters. The PlayStation has the Resistance games, which also, Resistance 1, 2, and 3, along with the Uncharted, another great series that started because it had a great story. And that's why those games sell well. I love the movie tie-in with the Godfather game, which I originally played on the original Xbox. What an outstanding game. It takes real characters, a real story that people are familiar with, and great, motion capture, James Caan and a lot of other actors in this. and the whole city of New York as it was back in the day with the speakeasies and all that. This is a great game. I invested so much time in this. One of the last original Xbox games that I put serious time into because it has a great story. It took the premise of a story from a film and then segued into a wonderful game series. The second one, not so much, unfortunately. I have it and I enjoy it, but this one is outstanding because of that. Even the Need for Speed, the very first Most Wanted, is a great, has just enough of a story to get you through. This is a racing game. You'd think that it wouldn't really need one, but it has enough of a story, and it works, and it has some of the best damn cutscenes I've ever seen. I get a big smile on my face every time I see these vibrant, over-the-top cutscenes. It makes the game. It makes the game. I think that, and a lot of us, I like movies. Yeah, I've got over 5,000 films in my DVD and Blu-ray library. I just got this recently, Two-Lane Blacktop, from 1971. A wonderful American tale of the youth, kind of underground youth at the time, kind of a counterculture type movie. This is an outstanding film. And there's not a whole lot of dialogue in it, kind of like the new Mad Max Fury Road. Not a whole lot of dialogue, but there's a story there. And it's a journey of these lost youth going from California to Washington, D.C. They just kind of evolve across the country. And that's kind of how life was back then. A lot of kids are on the road and hitchhiking. And that's what this is all about. It's a great movie. I love movies with good stories. These are two other ones I just bought recently from the 80s. Tequila Sunrise with Mel Gibson. Outstanding story. Wonderful writing. And Against All Odds with Jeff Bridges and Rachel Ward. These are two wonderful, kind of underrated films from the 80s. When you hear the 80s, it's all about Ghostbusters and Back to the Future and a lot of these other great, fun, movies and, The Terminator and all that. And I love those films too. But sometimes you just want a good story. Sometimes you want something that just really hooks you. And to me, the best movies are the ones that were built around a wonderful premise and story. And I think it's no different with games. I think that for myself, I play games to have that cinematic, immersive experience like what you have in a film, but you can actually create the situations that you like. Now, some people think of Heavy Rain, which I have, for the PlayStation 3. Those are heavy story-based games, and I haven't played any of the Telltale games, which I have, the Walking Dead, Volumes 1 and 2. I'm anxious to play those, but I've heard they're great games as well because they're based off a fantastic story, and I think that's why those games have sold so well. Thirsty. It's hot out this morning. Mafia 2, another one. This is one of the finest, most immersive games. I bought it and all the DLC. I didn't even play it for like a year, and then I finally played it. I was homesick for like a week. Oh, I know, I'll play my Mafia 2. I'll go through. Oh my God, it was just so incredible. Wonderful cutscenes. Endearing characters that you actually care about. And it's outstanding. I mean, yeah, it was a pretty game. Yeah, it has great shooting and all that. But the story and the characters that I cared about made me fall in love with this game. And that's why, even though I don't pre-order games, I'm kind of going against my own deal, and I pre-ordered Mafia 3. It has the Vito character from this game in it, but it looks like a great story, over the top action and all that, which you'd expect. But it has an interesting mixed race character, and the other one from Vietnam. I love stories about Vietnam. So a Vietnam vet coming back, takes down the mob in his own way for his own reasons. And you better believe I'm going to roll my sleeves up and immerse myself in that day after day because it's my kind of game. A game like Max Payne 1, 2, and 3 are wonderful examples too. I love the third Max Payne. It reminds me of myself, kind of old, tired, over the hill. You're worn out, but you get up and you do what you do best because that's what you do. And it has a great story and reason to get Max Payne out of New York, to go down to Brazil, and go through this crazy tale. And what a wonderful, series that is. I'd love to see a continuation of that Max Payne series, especially with the graphics and the last Max Payne that we had, Max Payne 3. What a great deal. Red Dead Redemption. 7 months away from home. This game was my best friend. every night I went home, even though I never finished it, I couldn't wait to play this. And this got me through one of the hardest times, being away from home for 7 months on a long project in a city that I hated, staying in a place with no air conditioning, but this game made up for all of it. I have the fondest memories of this. I hope to God they do like a remastered version of this, because I'd love to play it from the beginning all the way through again and re-experience it on my 4K Samsung, but with better graphics. But we'll see. Kane and Lynch 2. Now, I personally love these. A lot of people don't like it. They don't like the violence and the anti-hero, and there's like no likable characters, but I love violent movies like Reservoir Dogs, The Terminator, pretty much anything else, or the movie Heat from Michael Mann. But there's something about these characters and these stories. I love these games. I couldn't understand why they were so hated. I mean, I love Jeff Gertzman, but I think he was way off the beam on his review of both of these. But he obviously didn't understand it. He missed the forest of the trees with this. But these are outstanding games. Now, I've yet to finish the first one. This second one, oh, I love this. I couldn't stop playing it. I played it all the way through in like 2 days, and then went through and then replayed my favorite levels over and over and over. What a great game. Over-the-top action. I had to shake the little, camera off. That would drive me nuts. It was almost, vomit-inducing. But once you shake the shaky camera, you can toggle it off. It's a very fun and enjoyable because it has a damn story. That's why I like the games. Far Cry 3. Outstanding story. And I like Far Cry 4 too. I think the story is far better, and the villain in this kicks ass. This is a great reason. You can identify with the characters because they cared to incorporate a wonderful story as the foundation and the basis to an adventure that you can sink 40 or 50 hours in. And that's what I need. If I'm going to invest that kind of time in something, like this new No Man's Sky. Now, another reason why I'm doing this is because I've been kind of on the fence with No Man's Sky. I wasn't going to buy it initially, and then all of a sudden, at the last minute, the developers put little stickers over the back, label on the back of the box saying it's online only and all this, and you can play it offline now and all this. But so they said, you can play it offline. Also, all of a sudden, I started having an interest. I went from my boycott list to now I'm interested because I love the concept of the graphics. It's all the art styles based off from the old sci-fi paperback novels of the late 60s and 70s in record album jackets and stuff like that with sci-fi type airbrushed art. As a graphic designer and artist, I love the overall look and clean graphics and appearances and fonts that's used in No Man's Sky, and I was very interested. I love the concept, kind of like Wing Commander, exploring space and doing all this stuff, and hyperspace, and then coming out of hyperspace and approaching a planet and circling the planet and going in deep. I mean, the concept is brilliant, but now all the footage I've watched, I had one of my good friends, Chance, who just posted a video this morning as well. This is not so much a VR to that, but it's inspired by my buddy Chance's video. He was so excited to play it. Last night he said, Dean, he tagged me on Facebook, hey, guess what? I got No Man's Sky. This is going to consume my life. I can't wait. And this morning he gets up, what a piece of shit. I've never taken a game back to GameStop, and I'm taking it back and trading it in because I was so disappointed. He said it's just boring. If you want to just shoot rocks and just do the same 5 things on every single planet, it gets old. And I think that after seeing his reactions and a few others on it, it's a game that I really wanted. I don't know. I may hold off on it now because it forces me to think about, well, what is the complaints everyone's having with it? And it's a lot of it, the common denominator, it doesn't have a damn story. You've got to have a story that make it worthwhile. Why would you invest 100 or 200 or 300 hours exploring space for no reason whatsoever? It doesn't make sense. To me, I want to enter into a world where I have a motive, I have a reason for exploring. I have a reason. Something, my home planet got destroyed. I'm in search of a new planet. That's what made the Battlestar Galactica story so good. And the first ones and even the newer ones back in the 2000s is they had a premise, a story. They're being chased by the Cylons. They want to escape and go to a new planet, find a new home. That's a reason. That's a reason. The new Homefront game hasn't done real well, but at least it has an interesting story and premise, and that's why I loved the first Homefront. I thought it was a great concept. Unrealistic with the Koreans, I couldn't, it wouldn't be much of a threat to us, but I like the basic premise of it, kind of like the Red Dawn movies of the old days. Not the remake, but the original one. And based off from that, I thought it was a great concept. I haven't got that yet. I'm waiting, I guess I'm waiting for a solid patch and good news on the console ports of it, and I'll probably get Homefront: The Revolution, because initially I was very excited. But, getting back to this No Man's Sky, I'm really disappointed now, because I have good friends and I trust their instincts. I trust their sensations on it. And another good buddy of mine, Chad, who actually loves it, was playing it with his friends, and he had like an hour-long video where he's interacting with his buds on the couch, and they're all taking turns playing it, and Chad's kind of showing him the ropes, and here, do this, and you want to mine these materials and this kind of thing so you can upgrade your suit and your spaceship and all that. And I enjoyed watching the video. So he sees it for what it is and is enjoying it based off from exactly what it is. And I think that you subjectively, a person can do that. You can separate that. Some films don't have much of a story, but they're entertaining. Mad Max Fury Road, there's not a huge screenplay to it, but there definitely is a solid story, an underlying story, a reason to get from point A to point B, and that's why the movie works. And I've had people that are arguing with me, oh, there's no story in that movie, it sucks. Well, there's a story there. Not everything has to have a tremendous amount of dialogue. Sometimes George Lucas with the Star Wars films would kind of over-explain things and overdo it with the dialogue where you didn't really have to go there. But I appreciate a good story, and I know George Lucas was trying to do his best, and even going back and doing the prequels and fleshing out the complete story, and I appreciate that, Other games, and I've said this before, I buy the Battlefield games just for the story. They should go back to these Bad Company stories. I love Bad Company 1 and 2, especially the second one, because it has a wonderful story about these dudes. And just the humorous interactions that they have. To me, it makes this an endearing game. I love this, and I especially love the second one. It's an outstanding shooter, one of my top 10 FPS games of all time. Yes, it has destructible environments. Yes, there's got great graphics and all that, but more importantly, it has characters I give a shit about. That's why they need to return to this. This could be a wonderful single-player franchise and could even have multiplayer too. Why they don't go back to it is beyond me. The Bureau. 2K Marin closed their doors because of this game, unfortunately. This is an outstanding game. It takes place in 1962 when I was born. Wonderful characters. Kind of like an X-Files back in 62. U.S. government, trying to cover up this whole alien infiltration. It's a great story. Another wonderful squad-based tactical shooter, kind of like Freedom Fighters. But the game works on so many levels because it has story and characters that you give a shit about. And some of them you don't know if they're good or bad, and it's kind of a surprise by the end of it, but that's what propelled me all the way to the very end of the game. A good story. Syndicate, another one. This was panned, not liked by a lot of people. Now, I played the original on the C64, very removed from this. This is a wonderful FPS game. Fantastic cutscenes. Brian Cox is in it. Some other actors, I can't think of their name, but they're great actors. A wonderful cyberpunk FPS game, very stylish, great visual style, lighting, lens flare, gimmicks and all that. Some tough boss fights, great graphics and all that, but what made this game for me was a good story. Somewhat predictable, but still a good story. That's why I love Syndicate. The Chronicles of Riddick. Oh my god, what a surprise game. Now, the Dark Athena one I actually haven't played yet, but I bought this just to replay the Escape to Butcher Bay, which I played on the original Xbox. And this is actually better than the Vin Diesel films. Now, I love the very first Pitch Black movie, which I have. I have all of them, on DVD and Blu-ray or whatever. The second one was questionable, and the third one's okay, I guess. But the game, this actually has, especially Escape from Butcher Bay, which I would buy this game just for an outstanding story, much better than the films, and a reason to go from beginning to end on this game. I love this game. Being on this prison planet and escaping. You feel like you're in a real adventure. This is the kind of thing that keeps me up late. And I get a little distracted at work daydreaming because I can't wait to get home and continue the wonderful epic stories in these damn games. This is what we need more of. Jedi, I mentioned this the other day in one of my vlogs. I love this wonderful Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Wonderful stories. Again, this takes place, there are new characters are developed in an expanded universe, which to me I like. I approve of the expanded universe in the video games. I'm not into the Force Awakens. I'll never watch it because it wasn't penned by George Lucas. But I love this expanded universe in Jedi Outcast. A wonderful game, fantastic production values and Imperial environments and sound design and all that. But the story is what is gripping in this and propels you through it like a rocket ship. I mentioned the Wolfenstein, the New Order, The Last of Us. I mean, what can I say? Epic storytelling. Is it any reason why the game sold so damn well? I have over 100 hours in the Xbox 360 version of this. I had to unfortunately delete my PlayStation 4 one that I was starting to replay to make room for other ones with my cheesy 500 gigabyte hard drive in the PlayStation 4. It's an irritant. I'm hoping this Neo will at least have a 2 terabyte one. We'll see. But my God, I couldn't put this down. I blew through the story, and then I started going after all the collectibles and the sub and all the hidden packages and collectibles everywhere. What a wonderful game. Wonderful story. Not one, but 3 characters that ties the whole story up. And I couldn't put this down. This was my game of the year for, what it was, 2014 or whenever it came out. What a fantastic game. And it's because Rockstar cared enough to incorporate a damn story into it. Mad Max. I have over 200 hours in this game. I love this game. I still have 40% of the story left, which I've been saving because I just love every aspect and finding every nook and cranny in this enormous open world. It came out the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5. To me, I think the story is more coherent, it's more streamlined, but I prefer the graphics of this game better. I prefer the story of this game better from what I've seen of Metal Gear Solid 5. And I know that game is loved. It's a shame this game will probably never see a sequel because the poor timing of when it came out. This game kicks ass, and it has a story that's told not so much in cutscenes and with characters, and there is a great story there too, but it's told through these little hidden relics that you find, postcards and things in the back, and you slowly over time, and I found all of these things as collectibles, is it tells a story of what happened with the world. The world went crazy and went nuts, and it tells the story beautifully in subtle details within the environments, with the hidden relics, and the characters and cutscenes. This is a brilliant game. It's way underrated. Yes, I'm a huge Mad Max fan, that goes without saying, but on its own merits, this game works and succeeds because they cared enough to have a decent premise and story that's in keeping with basically all the films. There's Easter eggs for all the great Mad Max movies in this. But I love this game. Shortly after this, I had never played a Fallout game other than a little bit of Fallout 3, which I have as well for the Xbox 360, the Game of the Year edition. I say I have Fallout New Vegas, but I haven't played it yet. But I got sucked into this. I was home, off from work with my back surgery. And I ended up watching Phil at DSP and his entire playthrough of this because I couldn't game for a while. And I was so into this that I gamed even with incredible pain. And overdosing on pain pills at the time too to get through it, but I put 142 hours in this so far, and I still have 50% of the main story left. I downloaded the Far Harbor DLC. I haven't played it yet. I'm dying to get to it soon. But my God, this story took me by surprise. I got sucked in. After watching the Let's Play of it, I'm like, I can't wait to play this game for myself and see what it's all about. And even though I enjoyed watching the Let's Play, it was magical to take the basic story where you can pick and choose your factions, who you side with, who you trust, who you don't. And it's no wonder why this game has sold so damn well. And I would love to see a sequel to this, or certainly more expansion packs, like what they had with the wonderful Fallout 3. That's why this game works, because they cared enough to have a story. Let's hope that the next Battlefront will have a wonderful single-player story. I hope to God they learned from their mistakes, and that we'll have that, because as fun as this is, and I enjoy the skirmish modes, and I can't wait later today to delve into more of the skirmish modes, but it's like soulless. It lacks the soul of a premise in story. And my buddy Cameron, who I'm doing this VR to, last Christmas he gave me the Order 1886, which I've been dying to play. I haven't even taken the plastic off this. I am dying to play this. I love the graphics on it, but one of the common complaints on it was the story. That it kind of left you hanging. It was incomplete. Maybe they're hoping to have a sequel to it. I don't know if we'll see a sequel, but they should have cared enough to wrap up the story just in case by the end of this game, which is really a shame because it looks outstanding. But without a good story, it could be just an empty, vacuous, nebulous experience. And that's a problem with gaming today. They can do it in films, they can do it in movies, but for some reason they don't see the importance of doing it in a video game. That's why I personally am into video games, to have that cinematic interactive experience. And my friends, only a good story is going to sell me on video games in the long run. So let me know in the comments how you feel about this concept. Do you think the story is overrated? Do you think it matters in games? I know a lot of my friends, they play different types of games. A lot of those Mario games, there's not much of a story there. They're just fun little platformers, or Mario Kart, or even Forza. Not everything has to have a giant story. And I understand that. I love those games too. But for me personally, my favorite experiences are the ones centered around a good story. So let me know in the comments how you feel about this. Do you think the story is overrated? Do you think that you agree with what I'm saying? And list some of your top 3 or 4 favorite games based on stories that sucked you, and maybe even ones that maybe you weren't initially overly impressed with, but once you gave them a chance, the story sucked you in, and you got immersed with it and really had a good time. So that's my VR to Cameron's thing. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear them. And thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And no matter what they are, no matter what the genre is, enjoy your games.